So today obviously is a historic day. Can you tell us, first of all, who you are?
I'm John Davidson, Jon with Davidson. I'm the legal director of Lambda Legal.
And I'm Jenny Pizer. I'm senior counsel.
And will you obviously are in line. What time are you going into court?
We were told by the clerk that 7:30 they'll allow the Supreme Court bar line in, and then they're going to give us numbers once we get in and then check everything, and then they allow us in the courtroom. But the arguments don't start till 10 a.m.
10 a.m. So, how many people are allowed in the bar? And what's the difference between that and the general public access?
So for people who have been admitted to be able to argue before the Supreme Court, they have a special line. And my understanding is that there will be 57 lawyers admitted in that line. And then there's a public line where people have been waiting since Thursday to get in. I think that's the longest in history that people have waited in line.
It's a very small courtroom, actually. I think I saw that there are about 400 seats total, and a number are reserved for people affiliated with the court, and of course the reporters, a significant number of press, and there are many lawyers that have been involved in the case. So
let me ask you this. What do you feel is the most important issue on Proposition 8?
Well, there are several issues. The court has to get beyond the issue of whether or not the proponents of Proposition 8, the people who put it on the ballot, have a right to appeal the decision that Prop 8 is unconstitutional, because the decision didn't order them to do anything, and they just have a political disagreement with the outcome. They weren't directly harmed by it. Getting beyond that, the court has to decide what level of judicial scrutiny should they apply the laws that discriminate based on sexual orientation. Should those laws be presumed to be constitutional or unconstitutional, and who has the burden of showing that they either are or not?
Does this go to standing in the court?
The first question goes to standing. The second one is how will the court examine the issue of whether Prop 8 is unconstitutional or not.
So they may actually decide to take the case without considering standing and then go directly to the decision?
If they find that they're standing, then they will consider the merits. So the first question is there standing? But they're going to hear argument about all the issues today. So if after the argument they decide that there is standing, then they will consider the merits. They will consider Prop 8's constitutionality. And they have to decide, how do we look at that? Who has the burden of showing it's constitutional or not? Then they have a range of outcomes. They can find Prop 8 constitutional, or they can find it unconstitutional and decide that in all states in the country, same-sex couples have to be allowed to marry.
And that's your hope, that they do that?
That would be the best outcome, obviously, because...
Is that likely?
We don't really know. We don't. I am feeling optimistic that we will win on some ground, but it could be a narrower ground. It could be a ruling just about Proposition 8, or it could be a ruling about states that have a two-tier system that allow different-sex couples to marry and same-sex couples to have some other status, a lesser status, of civil unions or domestic partnerships.
All right, thank you very much.